Began as Decoration Day in many communities and evolved into Memorial Day. Joining us now live on the South Shores Morning News with a little bit of a historical perspective, we've got Peter Drummey from the Mass Historical Society. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Christine.
How did it go from Decoration Day to Memorial Day?
Well, after the Civil War, almost immediately after the Civil War, a tradition grew up throughout the United States, and perhaps first in the South, of decorating the graves of soldiers who had died during the Civil War. And it spread through the country. It became very important here in Massachusetts, and at the local level, at the town level. And I think people should really think about how terrible the losses proportional to the population were suffered everywhere in the country, and these small South Shore towns all erected monuments and on almost to the Civil War soldiers, and almost everyone and almost every place there was a ceremony, not necessarily on what became known as Memorial Day, that is May 30th, but a ceremony where there would be a parade or a procession to where the monument was, often in cemeteries or in the town green, and the laying of flowers became very important. That's where Decoration Day comes from. So Memorial Day became a state holiday here in Massachusetts in 1881, but was for all veterans, not simply all people who had died in wars, not simply Civil War soldiers, and that was the sensibility when it became a national holiday in 1971.
Isn't that surprising that it took so long to become a national holiday with that name? I was surprised about that.
Yes, I think it's striking about it because, and I think what it is that there was this idea that it was local. There was a division between the North and the South. I think you can put too much emphasis on this. The Grand Army of the Republic, the organization of Civil War veterans, had settled on this day, May 30th, in 1868, soon after the end of the Civil War. One thing that sort of people I don't think about is that when flowers are in bloom in the spring, and here in Massachusetts, I'm not even sure May 30th is going to be the fixed a good date. The idea that this would be the flowers in bloom in the springtime, which of course takes place at a different time over the country. So some of this was settling on a fixed date, and some of it was part of, frankly, this idea of 3-day federal holidays. That's why it changed to be the last Monday in May rather than the 30th, which it had been for most of a century, or at least as much as it was a fixed day.
And always an important day to remember. We appreciate your historical perspective. Again, that's Peter Drummey from the Massachusetts Historical Society. Thank you for joining us on this Memorial Day.
I'm always happy to help.
Thank you very much.